Hello, everyone, and welcome to another session of our past paper solution series for Cambridge O Levels English Language 1123. And the paper that we are going to solve today is from the October-November exam series of the year 2024, paper number 2 of variant 1. So let's begin. As far as an overall structure of this paper is concerned, so we are well aware that we would be given with two specific sections. Section A, which is known as directed writing section, and section B, known as the composition. We are supposed to attempt both of the section, but not all the question which has been given. So let's discuss in detail one by one what are the do's and don'ts and the requirement of section A, directed writing, how we are going to attempt it, how the questions are structured. So section A, directed writing. As the name says, directed writing, which means that we are supposed to write under some certain set directions or the instructions. In this section, we would be assessed on the basis of both our reading and the writing skills. So, the writing skills which are going to be assessed in this section are basically the assessment objective for writing W1 till W5, and the reading skills are going to be from R3 and R5 only. So let's discuss first, like what are the particular ground and the basis on which we are going to be assessed. First and the foremost thing the examiner want to see in the response that we are going to record in the directed writing section is that we as a candidate are capable enough to express what we have experienced, what we are thinking, what we are feeling, or what we are imagining. Whatever the things which are inside in our mind or the things that has happened with us during some certain event, we are capable enough to express them clearly. The second thing the examiner wants to see, the examiner is going to assess in our responses is the organization and the structure of the ideas and the opinions we are going to mention in our response. Thirdly, we would be assessed on the basis of the range of the vocabulary and the sentences structure appropriate to the context, which means that if in case we have been asked to compose a formal piece of response, so our vocabulary is in alignment of the formal tone, and if we are supposed to develop somewhere the semi-formal tone, so we are using the appropriate vocabulary. Fourthly, we are going to be assessed on the basis of the register appropriate to the context. That means the audience. Usually, the audience have been specified in our question. For example, write a letter to your friend, write a letter to your principal, write an article for your school magazine. So these terminologies are going to give you a very clear idea about your audience. So that means that once you have got the idea about your audience, so you are mingling up with some effective techniques to reach to your audience effectively. Lastly, accurate use of spelling, punctuation, and grammar, which is going to portray a very important role. All of these five skills would be of 15 marks and most commonly known as language and accuracy. Two skills of the readings are going to be assessed in this section as well, and which are to analyze, evaluate, and develop fact, ideas, and opinions using appropriate support from the text, which technically means that, for example, if you are saying that text A is in favor of the author, is in favor of something, so you must have some sort of evidence from the text to support your claim. For example, claim for the social media, right? Another reading assessment objective which is going to be assessed is to select and use information for the specific purposes. Remember, as I have mentioned in my previous videos as well, that the texts which are usually given in our paper are complex. They are going to be included with wide range of variety of the ideas, but all of the ideas are not going to be used to fulfill the requirement of your question. In simple word, technically it means that you are going to use the specific informations, only the required information that are the focus of your question. So that means that examiner want to see that as a candidate of English language 1123, you have this skill to pick up only the information which are aligning with the focus of the question. Both of these skills are of 10 marks and counted as an reading criteria. Usually the genres which are given for your directed writing sections are formal or informal email or letters, blog post, speeches, articles, and the reports. There is no specific pattern that examiner is going to give a report in 1 year, and then in the next exam series, examiner is going to give a formal letter or informal email. No, there is no such criteria. This totally depends upon the examiner and the paper setter. They pick up one genre and they give in different exam series. Sometimes it also happens that the same genre has been given twice in the same year or even in the both of the variants. Next, we are going to discuss the structure of the question. For attempting directed writing tasks, we would be given with two texts, either with same perspective or with a different perspective. So far, with the arrival of this new syllabus, we had the first exam series in the May-June of 2024, second exam series in the October-November of 2024, and the papers that has been published for the public use so far is indicating that the texts that usually have been picked by the examiner for English Evolvement 2-3 are coming with two different perspectives. But remember, in the scheme of work, the examiner has clearly mentioned that the text could either be in the same perspective or with a different perspective. So prepare yourself accordingly. So let's see what is the question number 1 saying to us. As I have already mentioned that we would be given with two specific texts. So the purpose of these texts are just to provide you a platform to provide to think about the idea. So that means that now your creativity is not a bit challenged, but it has been facilitated. That means that you don't need to think a lot. We just have to develop the idea which has been given in the text accordingly. What are the specific techniques, effective strategies to score good marks? First strategy is to read and understand the question, which is quite very common for both of your reading and the writing papers, because unless you have no understanding of the question, so you have no idea what you are going to write. So let's go to the question number 1 and see what the question is saying. So the question number 1 says that you have read two texts about the impact of the social media on the young people. You decide to write an article for your school magazine, giving your own views on advantages and disadvantages of the social media for young people. Write your article. In your article, you should evaluate the ideas and the opinion in both texts. Give your own views on the disadvantages and advantages of the social media for the young people based on what you have read in the text. Base your article on what you have read in both of the texts, but be careful to use your own words. Address both of the bullet points. Begin your article with a suitable headline. Write about 250 to 350 words. Up to 10 marks are available for the content of your answer, and up to 15 marks are for the quality of your writing. So, how we are going to understand the question? Few particular instructions has already been given in the question. What are they? Let's discuss one by one. Number 1, the phrase impact of social media on young people. Let's highlight it. That means that you are going to write an article which is based on the purpose of impact of social media only on the young people. We are not going to discuss anything from the commercial advantages or disadvantages. We are not going to discuss any other thing, only from the age of the young people. Secondly, you decide to write an article. That means you are supposed to write an article and the article is supposed to be published in your school magazine. That means you are going to have a very limited audience. Only the people who are involved with your school are going to read it. Giving your own views, you are going to express your own views on the advantages and disadvantages. So these 4 phrases are giving you a very clear understanding that this question requires you to write a discursive piece of article. Why? Why is it so? As the question clearly says advantages and disadvantages plus your own views. So this means that the examiner wants you to develop a balanced approach, which means that you're going to discuss the advantages of the social media on the life of the young people and the disadvantages in the same way. So that means that you are not going to persuade your audience. You are not going to present your arguments to your audience. You are just going to provide a wide platform to your audience to understand that how social media is impacting on the young people. So these phrases are the clear guideline for you to make an understanding that you are going to write a discursive piece of response. And as far as a discursive piece of response is concerned, so that means that you are going to present a balanced view. You are not going to take the side that social media is having a bad impact on the young people or social media is having a good impact on the people. You are going to discuss both of the points equally. The very suitable strategy is to cater this question is to organize the ideas effectively. How? For example, if you are going to pick up two disadvantages, so pick up two advantages as well and construct your paragraph accordingly. In this way, you would be able to develop a balanced approach. The rest of the instructions mentioned in the question, the two bullet points, evaluate the ideas and the opinion in the both texts, giving your own views, base your article on what you have read, are going to remain same for this question number 1. Base your article on what you have read. This means that all the ideas that you are going to align up to compose your article must be with the reference of the ideas that has already been clearly stated in the given text, right? So let's read the text and see what the texts are saying, what the authors are saying. So text A is basically written by the Sam, who is a 42 years old person. And Sam has mentioned that social media apps are popular with the young people, but should we allow our children to use them? As a parent, I am worried about the negative effects of social media can have on the young people, and I don't let my children have social media accounts. These apps are designed to attract and keep users' interest. This means that hours can be lost looking at news feeds and videos, leaving important tasks like homework unfinished. When homework is not completed, children can fall behind at school. Being able to connect through the social media apps is quick and easy, but it can make children less likely to meet up in the real life. So, their social skills don't develop. We also need to be careful to avoid social media intruding on the family times, with children looking at their screens during the family events or missing out on these occasions altogether. Seeing pictures of the people's perfect lives on the social media can make children feel that their own lives are not good enough. Some people have linked the use of social media to the mental health problems. Children can also accidentally see unsuitable content, which I want to protect them from. For these reasons, my children will not be allowed to use any social media accounts until they are at least 16. So, in this text, we have seen a worried parent, Sam, who is not at all in favor that the children should be given an opportunity to use social media. And Sam has supported the arguments by providing a very clear example. First and the foremost, we can see that effective strategy that Sam itself has applied is the use of the rhetorical question. The text is beginning with the rhetorical question. A generalized idea has been discussed and then the question has been posed to the reader. In this way, Sam has effectively captured the attention of his or her reader. Social media apps are popular with young people, but should we allow our children to use them? Plus, another effective technique that the Sam has applied over here is to answer the same rhetorical question. As a parent, I am worried. That means that Sam is not at all in favor that the children should use the social media. So here the stance of Sam has been cleared that children should not use social media. Then from the main body paragraph, we can see a very clear ideas that has been mentioned. For example, designed to attract and keep users in trust. Hours can be lost looking at the feeds. That means wasting time. Important, when homework is not completed, children can fall behind at school, making a connection that what are going to be the outcomes if in case students or the children are not going to complete their homework. Being able to connect through the social media apps quick and easy, this is a charm, but it can make children less likely to meet up. That means the social interaction in the real life is being affected. So their social skills don't develop. So Sam has basically applied the cause and effect strategy to talk very effectively and very concisely. This seems like a perfect example of the article as well. As Sam is just writing to persuade the reader that they should not allow their children to develop the interest in the social media. So Sam has only talked about the reasons which are supporting his or her argument, right? So we are supposed to take the ideas like this. Now let's discuss text B. What the text B says. Text B is written by Ali, who is a 15 years old boy, a teenager. And Ali says, I understand some of these reasons why parents might not want their children to use social media, but there are some positive aspects to using it as well. For example, social media can provide a quick and easy way to communicate with other people. In the past, the only way to keep in touch with the family and the friends who lived far away was to write a letter and wait weeks to get a reply. A quick social media message is instant. Some people say that social media can have a negative effect on the development of our social skills, but this need not to be case. For people who are less confident, it might be easier to talk to others online rather than face to face. This can help them to develop as a person or stop them from feeling lonely. As teenager, we are often unsure of ourselves, so being able to socialize online help us to build skills we can then use in the real world. Social media can help us to understand other people's life. And for me, the biggest benefit of the social media is that it's a great way to spread positivity, and this can help to make the world a better place. So while I can see there are some problems with the social media, in my experience, there are some advantages than disadvantages, especially for the younger people. So from the Ali's perspective, using social media is fine. It's appropriate. Although he has also catered the counter argument, he has also mentioned a wrong mindset that few people are thinking that social media is a cause of distraction. But in order to support that this mindset is wrong, Ali has taken out few very real life examples at how social media is going to help you out. So similarly, the ideas that we have taken from text A, we are going to take it from text B. This is going to be our second step to approach to our question number one. First was to understand the question, and second was to evaluate and understand what is the particular perspective that has been displayed in the text. Third step is to align the perspective of the text with the perspective of the question. Both of the texts are in the opposite stances, but in the questions we are supposed to present a balanced approach. That means we are going to discuss few points of Sam, and we are going to give a room to the few thoughts of Ali as well. So as far as we are supposed to write an article, so before proceeding to write an article, this is very crucial to understand what article writing is. So as far as articles are supposed to So articles are written to share information, present viewpoints, or persuade readers about a certain topics. Whether you're writing for a school magazine, a blog, or a newspaper, your article should be interesting and thoughtful. Some articles explore multiple sides of an issue, for example, the one that has been given in the question, and allow the readers to form their own opinions. Others take a clear stand and aim to convince reader of one perspective. In simple words, article can be persuasive, articles can be discursive, and articles can be argumentative. So using the right tone to approach to this task is the key. So before you start writing, you need to ask yourself few important questions. Number one, who are you writing for? Number two, what tone suits the topic? Number three, what's your purpose? Number four, how will you keep your reader interested? So I'm going to answer all of these four questions step by step. So the first question that you are supposed to ask yourself was, who are you writing for? So basically, you likely won't know your readers' personality and you don't even know them personally. Like your article is going to be published in your school magazine, and school magazine is going to be taken by the people of the school and people of their acquaintance, like the parents, the family members as well. So you technically have no idea like what sort of personalities are going to read your article. You need to think about what they care really or they already know. Usually the articles which are written, they are written on some sort of cause. They are written for some sort of cause to spread information or to present your opinion to persuade your readers. And most of the times that the topics that has been given over here are quite very general as the one that has been focused in the question. The impact, advantages and the disadvantages of the social media on the young people. So that means that there must be some certain things which your readers already know. So that means that in your article, you should talk factually. You need to choose language that matches their interest and the level of understanding. You don't need to become Shakespeare. You don't need to become William Wordsworth, and you don't need to become Roald Dahl. You need to develop a balanced approach. The tone that we are going to follow for writing an article is supposed to be semi-formal, because few people might have a good command on the understanding of the complex sentence structure of English language, whereas few people have average command of understanding for the language. So semi-formal tone is the best approach. So the second question that I posed was that what tone suits the topic? As I have just mentioned a few moments ago, that articles are usually semi-formal, not too stiff, but not too casual either. So imagine reading your article aloud. Does it sound like a natural and engaging? Humor or the sarcasm may be okay for the funny topics, like if you are presenting reviews, but not for the serious issue, like the one that has been given in the question. Thirdly, what's your purpose? Are you trying to convince your reader for something, or you're trying to persuade your reader for something, or you want your reader to come up with their own understanding? So you are going to use confident and the thoughtful language that matches your aim. As far as the approach to this question is concerned, so here we are supposed to develop a balanced approach, as we are going to record a discursive piece of response. So that means we are going to stay very neutral. Fourth and the last question was, how will you keep your reader trusted in the article? You may vary your sentence length and the style. You may start with the very short and precise sentences, but slowly, gradually, as soon as you proceed with the main body and the arguments that you want to present in the article. So over there, you can use compound sentence structure, the complex sentence structure. You need to avoid monotony. The whole entire article should not be in too much simple language. You can use some sort of interesting vocabulary, and you can add some sort of descriptive techniques as well, but you need to make sure that you are avoiding repeating the same words and the ideas in your response, because if you keep on repeating the same exact words, or the ideas, so your reader is going to become bored. Next approach that you need to keep in your mind that how you're going to organize your article. So there are three simple things that examiner want to see in your response. Number one, introduction. Number two, main body. And number three, conclusion. For the introduction, you need to grab the reader's attention right from the start, either by using a rhetorical question or by applying the rule of three. What the rhetorical questions are, the example has clearly been mentioned in the question itself. Social media apps are usually with the young people, but should we allow our children to use them? The author has talked about a very general example from our life that social media apps are very popular with our kids, but do we really need to allow them to use? Is it a wise decision or not? Rather than mentioning your stance explicitly, this is a very recommended approach that you are going to provide a platform for your reader to think what your stance might be or what you might be going to talk about. So the rhetorical questions are the best approach for it. So rule of three is a writing principle suggesting the ideas or the examples presented in the groups of three are more engaging, memorable, and effective. In persuasive or the balanced writing, like an article, this helps to create a rhythm, express clarity, and show the balance between the points. Connecting it with the question. So, as far as the question is concerned, so we are basically writing about the impact of the social media on the young people. So, we can use the rule of three to organize our ideas and examples for both in favor or in against of the social media. Here is how. Firstly, you are going to structure your main point in the group of three. That means that you can pick up three positive points and you can pick up three negative points. Now, how to use the rule of three in the sentences? So, the beginning sentence, the introductory sentence can be social media connects, informs, and entertains young people like never before. This sentence you can apply when you're going to talk about the points in favor of the social media. In order to continue, you may also write, however, it can also distract, isolate, and harm their mental health. If you are going to combine both of these sentences together, so it will give you a very good beginning of your article. Right? So this is an example of rule of three that you can apply in your article. Now, talking about the structure of the article, what exactly the structure we are supposed to follow. So for the structure, one thing has been clearly specified in the question, and that is base your article on what you have read in both of the texts, but be careful with your own words. Begin your article with a suitable headline. That means that the first thing that you need to keep in consideration is the headline. One thing that we need to keep in consideration that our headline must follow with the approach that we are supposed to adopt in the question. The approach that we have been asked to adopt in the question is the balanced approach. So the few suggestions for the headline can be alignment with the rule of three that we have just learned. For example, I can come up with the headline. The ideas for the headline can be squirrel, share, shine, or suffer. The real impact of social media on youth. Another example that I can use, like, likes, links, and loneliness. How social media shapes young lives. So the vocabulary that I'm using for presenting the headlines is basically aligning with the ideas that we had already discussed and we had observed in the given text. Let's discuss another example. Another very prominent idea that was mentioned by Sam was that while the children are attracting with each other on the social media, so they are basically not interacting with the people who are sitting with them physically. So let's use this idea. So I can say that connected yet conflicted. And if you want to add any further detail to enhance this headline, so you can. So this is how you are going to come up with the idea of the headline. So as I have mentioned that the headline must align with your stance. Our stance is not to take any side, not to go in the favor of any argument. We are going to stay neutral. So all of these three suggestions for the headline is representing the same approach. The second thing that we have to keep in focus is the after placing the headline, what we are supposed to do. The first paragraph is going to be the introductory paragraph. As I have mentioned a few moments ago, that examiner want to see a clear introduction, a clear main body, and a clear ending. So that means that we are supposed to present all of these three elements in our writing. Remember, there is no limit for the paragraph in the Cambridge. This limit has not even been described in the scheme of work. So as far as the introductory paragraph is concerned, so in order to express our strong introduction, you are supposed to introduce your topic. I would recommend that rather than uh, explaining your stance explicitly, let your reader to decide what you want to say. So you can use a rhetorical question. Then you are going to engage your reader immediately after your headline, because if a reader is going to be captivated by looking at the headline but the reader is not going to find anything interesting in the introductory paragraph, so there is a reason that the reader may not even bother to read the whole entire article. Then you can set the tone. Remember, setting up the tone is basically not like that you are not going to show in the form of structure of the sentences, like the tone for this article is going to be this, my purpose of writing this article is this. We are supposed to mention all of these things implicitly. The usage of the word is going to showcase our tone. If I'm saying that I am well, so that means my tone is quite very informal. If I'm writing a sentence that I'm glad to receive your letter, or I'm glad to observe, so this means that I'm using a formal tone. So the usage of the vocabulary is basically going to specify the tone, right? Then for the introduction, after introduction, you are going to go with the main body, and there should be 3 to 4 well-developed paragraphs if you want to go with all the ideas that has been presented in the text. So yes, you can go. There is no limit in the scheme of work, even not from the examiner side, that student should develop these sort of point, this much point, and number of the paragraph and blah blah. Few people come up with this wrong mindset that there should be 5 paragraphs in the article, there should be 4 paragraphs in the speech, there should be 6 paragraphs if in case you are writing an argumentative genre. No, there is no limit of the paragraph anywhere specified by the examiner herself. Then after completing your body paragraph, you are going to come up with the ending. That is going to be the conclusion. So you are going to sum up your main points, like the points, the arguments that you have made somewhere in your article, and then you are going to end up with a clear impression as the approach of this question is concerned, so we were supposed to present a balanced piece of argument, right? So that means that we are going to let our reader decide that what they should do. We can simply end up in a statement like usage using and everything or anything is not bad. It depends upon how we are using it. The extra usage is not recommended at all. Like these sort of phrases you can utilize. So this is what article writing is and how you're going to attempt it from the question. So the simply do's that you are supposed to follow is to clearly identify the audience, choose an appropriate tones, decide your purpose, use engaging and the varied language, plan your article, the structure of your article, start with a strong headline, develop your points, and present a very clear conclusion. The things that you are supposed to mention, not. You are supposed to follow, not. The don'ts of writing an article. Assume familiarity, choosing an inappropriate tone, using only simple sentences and a repetitive word, starting with or without planning, and overloading your article with so many subheadings, ignoring the paragraphing, or leaving the ideas disconnecting. So these are the do's and don'ts that you need to keep in consideration if you want to score better grade in your directed writing section. Moving on to section B, which is our composition section. As for the directed writing, we were not being given with any particular sort of choice, but for the composition section, we have choice. As you can clearly see that you would be given with 4 questions, 2 for the descriptive and 2 for the narrative. So technically you have a choice for between the descriptive and a narrative one. So that means if you find yourself good to go with the descriptive one, so you can come up with a descriptive writing. And if you don't find yourself good to go with the descriptive, so you can come up with the narrative. Even either you're going to choose descriptive or the narrative, you are going to come up with 2 choices, right? So you can pick up any choice accordingly. Each question contain 25 mark. Whatsoever the question you are going to come up, so you are going to be marked out of 25 on the basis of content and the structure. You will be given 10 marks, and on the basis of your style and accuracy, you will be assessed out of 15 marks. So let's discuss one by one what the descriptive writing questions are saying. So the first option for the descriptive that has been given to us is basically the description of a person. The question says that describe 2 people you know who have very different lifestyle. They could be the members of your family, friends, famous people, or anyone else. So first we are supposed to break down the question. The question is basically asking us to describe 2 people, not just their name. we are we have been asked to focus on their lifestyle, means the way they are living, their habits, their routines, their attitudes, the way they emphasize on the values, their interest, what work they do. Thirdly, we are supposed to show the contrast at how their lifestyle are differing from each other. So that means that we can use a descriptive language, we can provide sensory detail, vivid adjectives, and the comparison. So the goal is to paint a picture of both of the people and help your reader to see and feel the difference between their ways of living. So let's see how we are going to plan. So for your plan, the first thing that you need to mention is the introduction. It can be a very short paragraph. You're going to introduce both people very briefly. You can mention that they live in very different kinds of the life. Like, for example, if I start like this, that in my life, I know 2 people who could not be more different. My cousin, Sarah, who lives uh, fast-paced city life, and my cousin Ahmed, who enjoys the calm rhythm of the countryside. So in this way, I can introduce both of my characters, like the way I'm going to describe them in a very concise way. Then, after giving the introduction, we are going to give the description of the person number one. So technically, the person number one that I have written over here is the cousin Sarah. So that means I can describe what sort of daily lifestyle she follows, how her work life may look like, her hobbies, and her habits. But I need to make sure that I'm going to use the sensory details like what they look like, sound like, and how the environment might feel like. Right? So I can say if I talk about the example paragraph, so I can say that Sarah wakes up early to catch the subway to her marketing job. Her days are filled with meetings, deadlines, and the phone calls in the evenings. She enjoys 20 coffees and the fitness classes. Right? Then for the next para, I can give the description of the person too. That is technically another cousin of mine, Amit. So I'm going to show the contrast. This means that I'm going to focus on the difference in the lifestyle and the environment and the personality. For example, if I say, if I'm going to talk about the Ahmad, so I can say that on the other hand, Ahmad lives in a quiet village. He spends his mornings tending to his garden and his afternoons reading or chatting with the neighbors, right? So in this way, I can give as many character traits as I could in the descriptive one. As far as the effective strategies for writing the descriptive is concerned, so first and the foremost thing that we need to keep in consideration is that we need to use the vivid adjectives, right? Like bustling, serene, energetic, quiet. Descriptive always supposed to work with the sensory details, so we have to make sure that if we are working with a descriptive, so we are good enough to provide the sufficient sensory details so that our reader would be able to see what we have been able to see, right? Then after that, we had another topic for the descriptive, that is describe a scene at a popular outdoor location in good weather and the same location in the bad weather. So the second description is basically about the description of a place. So as far as the structure of the descriptive writing is concerned, so we would either be given with a description of a person, the description of a place, or a description of an event. So usually examiner give one question for the description of a person and the other one either for the place or an event. So similarly, the second option is aligning them. So let's break down the question. That means we are supposed to describe a popular outdoor location. The word popular is the command word over here. That means that we are not going to use some sort of general location. We are not going to describe our room because our room is not popular at all, right? So first and the foremost thing that you need to do is to choose a well-known outdoor place. It can be a park, it can be a beach, it can be a garden, or even a market. Then you need to describe how it looks, how it feels, and how it sounds in two contrasting conditions. Number one, when the weather is pleasant, means the weather is sunny, the weather might be calm, the weather might be inviting. Secondly, when the weather is bad, during the rain, stormy night, windy, or the gloomy. We are supposed to use the vivid descriptive language to help our readers to visualize the changes as we are going to work with the same place, right? So similarly, as far as the plan is concerned, so the first paragraph is going to be the introduction, where in very concisely we can introduce the outdoor location and why it is popular. For example, the city park is one of the liveliest place in the town where the families, joggers, and the children gather every day or enjoy the open air. Then, after giving a very concise description in the first paragraph, the next paragraph, the next main body paragraph that we are going to adopt here, we can discuss how the place may look like in the good weather. And for the third paragraph, we can discuss that how the same place is turned into a disaster during the bad weather. Then, in order to give the ending, the closing, we are supposed to reflect on how the place feels different but still meaningful. So the key tips that you need to keep in your consideration is the contrasting adjectives and the sensory details to describe this place. So to end up the descriptive writing, what makes a good descriptive paragraph or a good descriptive response? So you need to keep in your mind that a well-written descriptive writing, descriptive essay or a descriptive response should, number one, focus on one clear idea or image. Number two, use specific and the vivid vocabulary. Number three, appeal to the multiple senses. Number four, organized. Number five, used figurative language. And number six, show reader, not tell. So descriptive writing is like a camera lens that zooms in on the world and capture all its little details, the colors, textures, sounds, even the emotions, so that the reader can experience it fully. It takes practice, imagination, and a strong vocabulary, but once you mastered, it makes your writing very alive. So moving on to the narrative one, from option number 4 and option number 5 is basically for the narrative. So what is narrative writing? Narrative writing basically is the art of telling the story. It could be real, based on personal experience, or imagined, fictional one. The main goal when we are working with the narrative is to entertain, engage, and move, not to persuade, not to describe our reader by creating a believable world, relatable characters, and a compelling sequence of events. So, unlike essays, which usually focus on facts and arguments, narratives are built on emotions, they are built on creativity and the storytelling techniques. Good narratives bring readers into the world of the story and makes them care about what happens. So there are 8 key elements in the narrative writing that you need to keep in consideration. Number 1, character. Number 2, settings. Number 3, plot. Number 4, conflict. Number 5, theme. Number 6, point of view. Number 7, language and style. And number 8, dialogue. So these all elements have been explained to you guys in the previous videos and the classes even. So you have a very clear idea about what are they. Now, moving on to the narrative question that has been given to us, what specific plan we are going to follow. The question says that write a story in which a small notebook is important. So that means the title has been given to us already. A small notebook is important. So a small notebook can be a title, right? The little notebook. Then after the title, the next thing that you need to talk in your narrative or show in your narrative is the setting. For the setting, you can use the idea of either a quiet personal place, for example, a dusty attic, an old library, uh, a bench in a park, or a rainy room. Then you need to talk about the time, like when did the event took place. It can be afternoon or evening, just to create a calm or the nostalgic mood. Thirdly, you need to mention your character. Usually, the narratives are written with the first person perspective or with the third person perspective. The perspective has been clearly mentioned in question number 5, but not with the question number 4. Usually when examiner asks you to write a story and the title has been given, so the perspective is basically totally in your hand. You can either go on with the first person perspective or you can go on with the third person perspective. But if you're going to opt with the option where you are supposed to use the given sentence in the story, so please be very careful with the perspective because the perspective has been clearly mentioned there. So the character, two characters should be specified here. Minor one, sorry, the main character, that who is going to be the main character. uh Main characters are usually the narrator. For example, if you are going to write from your own experience, so you can be the base, you can base yourself as a main character. Then the supporting character, it can be anyone from the family, like a grandparent, friend, teacher, or even a person who wrote the in the notebook, right? Then you are going to start up with the rising action, that means beginning. So you need to introduce the main character and the setting. And the setting, you need to show that how the character finds and receives the little notebook that we are going to talk about. For example, while cleaning my grandparents' attic, I discovered a little blue notebook covered in dust. So both of the characters has been specified. I as a first person perspective and my grandfather as a supporting character, right? Then in the middle, the main part of your body, you're going to talk about how the complication, the discovery lead you to something. Like the character opens, I opened the notebook and found something very surprising. It could be old letters, it could be drawings, some sort of secrets, or even some sort of advices. And similarly, you can describe the emotions accordingly. Moving on to the ending, like how you're going to end it up. So it's going to be some sort of thing where you can reveal the unexpected meaning of that notebook. It could contain a message, a clue to solve a mystery, or even a personal note that might change the narrator perspective. So, in order to use an effective language, you need to provide some sort of sensory details at how it looks like, how it smells like, or even how the notebook feels like. But these sensory details must align with the emotional vocabulary, like gentle, trembling, faded, precious something, right? So this is how your narrative for question number 4 is going to be catered. The last option, which is option number 5, write a story which include the sentence, she felt a huge sense of the joy as she saw her best friend running towards her. These sort of question usually given from the narrative point of view as well, but the technicality is to fix up the line that has been given. Most of the time, candidates commit this sort of mistake that they use or they start the story with the same exact line. No, it is technically not like that. You need to be quite very vigilant with the line. Make sure to read the sentence and understand that where it can fit best. Sometimes the sentences that has been given to us in by the examiner side for these sort of questions are best to use at the climax part. Sometimes they are best to use in the ending, and sometimes they are best to use in the setting area. So the technical elements that you are going to follow for the narratives are going to remain same, the one that we have discussed for the number 4. The plan can be made accordingly, and the only thing that you need to keep in consideration is to use this line very effectively. So this is how you're going to attempt your paper number 2. First, from section number B, you can come up with the choice of any one question, either descriptive or a narrative. But make sure that your before your response, you have a pre-planned activity, like a planning thing has been specified, which will give a good impression of you to your checker that your story is well organized, you are well prepared, you are having a very good command, either on narrative or the descriptive, how you are going to work. If there has been any sort of confusion in any specific stance of the explanation, so feel free to drop your comments in the comment box. I would like to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you so very much for watching. Happy learning.